Voices keep telling me I'm not right, but that's alright, 'cause I hear a voice and he calls me redeemed. But does say I'll never be enough. The greater is the one living inside of me than he who is living in the world. In the world. In the world. Greater is the one living inside of me than he who is living in the world. Bring your doubts, bring your fears, bring your hurt, bring your tears. There'll be no condemnation here. You are holy, righteous, and today I fall, there'll be those who will call me a mistake. That's okay, 'cause I hear a voice and he calls me redeemed. But others say I'll never be enough. The greater is the one living inside of me than he who is living in the world. In the world. In the world, the greater is the one living inside of me than he who is living in the world. Them days I lose a battle, grace says it doesn't matter, 'cause the cross already won the war. He's greater, he's greater. I'm learning to run freely, understand just how he sees me, and it makes me love him more and more. Them days I lose a battle, grace says it doesn't matter, 'cause the cross already won the war. He's greater, he's greater. I'm learning to run freely, understand just how he sees me, and it makes me love him more and more. And I hear a voice calling me redeemed. When others say I'll never be enough. The greater is the one living inside of me than he who is living in the world. In the world. Greater is the one living inside of me than he who is living in the world. Than he who is living in the world. Yo, energy.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the First Christian Church of Reno. I'm Ronnie, the senior minister here, and so glad that you are worshiping with us today. I spent this last week with about 90, close to 100 high school students from across our great state, and I successfully embarrassed our own youth, so that was good. At the dance, which had nothing to do with my amazing dance moves, but more about my costume that I took. So there's a DJ called Marshmallow, and I made a bucket that looks very similar to Marshmallow's helmet that he wears. And our youth were ecstatic. But deep down, I think they still think I'm cool. Good times at camp. It was a great camp, and thankful for our students, and that we support the camp for sure. Good things happen. All right, do we have any guests, visitors this morning? I see people from far away. I see people who have returned, who have been away for many weeks. And so it is good to see you for sure. You would please. Yes, Jameson. Jameson is here. We can see him. He came out to Pokemon night Friday. Working on teaching him how to play. He is a Pokemon card collector. All right, you would please pass the tickets very We would appreciate it. Remember, we are on Facebook, and we post things recorded on there, and feel free to like and share those with your friends. Also, we stream live each and every week on YouTube. Oh, today is the first Sunday of July. So if you have a July birthday, would you please stand up? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, God bless you. Happy birthday to you. Looks like we have about 6 in the balcony up there. Oh, it's a cookie too. All right. It's always hard to put us on stage. We have to wait. Down. If you look at the calendar on the back of your bulletin, you will see what is happening this week. Today begins Mission Stillwater. We have a visiting group of junior high school in Tara. Do you have anybody else with you? Oh, there. Do you have anybody else going with you? Bunch of great kids. Great. So we'll be thinking about them this week. They'll be in Stillwater, as I said, and doing great things there. So be sure to keep them in prayer this week. Our Monday, okay, now the back to see elders meeting. Elders, please note, we have changed and moved that to Wednesday at 6. We've bumped that just 2 days. There's several elders who are going to be able to be here, so including myself, so we decided to move that. I appreciate that. Wednesday also is Grace, our college age group. That begins at 7 over at the Nelsons. Thursday morning prayer breakfast at Denny's, and then also our men's fellowship, because July 4th is Tuesday. We bumped that as well to Thursday evening, so men's fellowship Thursday evening at 8 over at my house. All right, any other announcements? Anything I missed? Yes. Oh. Okay, Hope has an announcement. Remember, tell about that time when you. All right. I have friends who love to do that joke. Hey, remember you were telling me just the other day about a river trip. What river trip? Anyway, all right.
How is everyone this morning? How is everyone this morning? Good. We missed you all last week. We were hanging out with some second, third graders. We had a good time last weekend. So be curious to why. So if you guys will please stand and join us in worship. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Won't you open the eyes of my heart? 'Cause I want to see you. 'Cause I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Won't you open the eyes of my heart? 'Cause I want to see you. 'Cause I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Won't you pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Won't you open the eyes of my heart? 'Cause I want to see you. 'Cause I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Yes, I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Won't you open the eyes of my heart? 'Cause I want to see you. 'Cause I want to see you. When music plays, all is stripped away, doesn't become long just to breathe. Something that's a word that will bless your heart. I'll read more than a song, for the song in itself is not what you have required. You search much deeper within, the way things appear. You're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the things I made. But it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. You didn't say this word. No one could express how much you deserve. No weekend for all I have is yours, every single breath. I'll bring you more than a song, for a song in itself is not what you have required. You search much deeper within, you're the way things appear. You're looking into my heart. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I've made. When it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm coming back to the heart of worship, and it's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus. I'm sorry, Lord, for the things I made. It's all about you. It's all about you, Jesus.
For our freedom that we're going to express this week. The freedom Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, and do not submit again to the yoke of slavery. Galatians 5:1. Please join me in prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
much to the Christian flag, which we used to do all the time. Some of us remember doing that vacation Bible school every day. And they are very similar, but let's read the words to the Christian flag. I pledge allegiance to the Christian flag and to the Savior whose kingdom it stands, one brotherhood uniting all mankind in service and love. So what does it mean to be free in Christ? What does that mean? Why? To love the Lord. And why? Look, maybe this is a better question. Why are we free in Christ?
Because of Jesus.
Because Jesus died on a cross for us, right? So that wiped away all of our sin and made us be able to spend eternity with Him. So as we celebrate the United States freedom this week, and we speak fireworks, and we have lots of fun with that, also make sure that you stop and thank God for the freedom that we have in Christ. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much that we live in the United States of America, where we have so many freedoms that we often take for granted. We also, however, take for granted the freedom that your Son bought for us on the cross. Help us to appreciate, be thankful for that, and live our life, knowing that we are indeed free in Christ. In your name we pray. Our prayer this morning is God Bless America. I'm going to sing a little intro, and then I'll let you know. I'm sure you want to stand. It's your turn to speak. Please join me in singing that. Let us swear allegiance to the land that's free. Let us all be grateful for the land so glad. As we raise our voices in songs of praise. God bless America. Let thy love satisfy and guide her through life till life from the mountains to the prairies to the ocean, wide with gold. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
As we come to this time of prayer, see the prayer concerns in the back of your bulletin. Gene, and this is an update. Gene Stroman will have triple bypass surgery. He was with some issues and went to the doctor and found out that his heart was not in good shape. So that will be coming up soon. We'll try to keep you posted as we get information on that. Other joys and concerns this morning. Will you pray? Our gracious God, we thank you today for the land in which we live. We thank you for the freedoms which are ours, the multitude of opportunities for each of us and for a land of legends. Forgive us. Forgive us for our lack of creativity in sharing our nation's riches irregularly, for tarnishing our political process with greed, and for failing. Save us from that litany of destructive behaviors that fall out of us: hatred, strife, jealousy, anger, quarrels, dissension, factions, envy, all that are not us. Lead us instead to claim the fruit of the Spirit and embody those of love. Help us to develop loving behaviors which demonstrate care and compassion for others. Help us to work for peace in a world which seems to prefer violence. Help us to demonstrate kindness to all, and especially to those with whom we find it especially difficult to be kind. Help us to learn generosity with our resources. But help us especially to learn how to be generous in our attitudes and behaviors towards others. And help us to be faithful, gentle, and self-controlled. We lift up our friends and family who are hurt, those who were mentioned, as well as unmentioned. We thank you for answered prayers for people who are here, those who are recovered, for what they do. God, raise our national vision. Give us tolerance and understanding for all peoples. May we hold dear for all people the freedoms that we cherish. In Christ's holy name we pray.
As you can tell, there's an choir today. The choir's on vacation for the next 6 weeks, so I'm going to fill it with special music every Sunday. This Sunday happens to be me and Andrea. We'll do a preview next week. Cliff and I'll be doing Natalie Grant's Clean. So I'll give you the preview for the next week every week. But today, the song that Andrea and I are doing is called A Lonely Praise. We normally do it on our Monday, Thursday service. Unfortunately, not very many people come to that service, but it's a beautiful service. It's probably my favorite of the whole year. It's solemn and beautiful and moving. A very moving service. And this song, we sing it every year, so not many people can see it or hear it. And it's gorgeous and wonderful. And it's by Joel Rainey, which happens to be the guy who wrote our piece that we had commissioned and everything. So this is the Lonely Praise.
Well, I remember growing up, and about the same time every year, there was a certain movie that always came on. Every year, it didn't matter, and it just kept going for the longest time. Wizard of Oz would always be on. I can't remember if it was the fall or the spring. It's really kind of torturous if it was the spring, I gotta think of it. Since it's about, of course, we know what it's about. Wizard of Oz is, did you know that Dorothy has a last name? Anyone? You know what her last name is? Gale. Dorothy Gale is, I know, it's just kind of weird. Anyway, so she swept away from her farmhouse, or actually in her farmhouse in Kansas, to the magical land of Oz. And in the tornado, so it sweeps her up. And then what ensues is that she goes on a quest, and she gets 3 friends, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Oh wait, no, hold on, that's wrong. The Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow. Right, so their friends embark on this journey to see the wizard that will hopefully help her get home and also help her friends with the things that they are dealing with. Now, the scene that we're going to watch is right towards the beginning of the movie. Dorothy has just landed in Oz, literally. You know, she sits in her house and then lands on top of the Wicked Witch of the West. That's right, Wicked Witch of the West. And so now we are going to see the celebration that ensues in Munchkinland.
We thank you very greatly for doing it so neatly. You filled us so completely that we thank you very sweetly. Let the joyous music stay to be the picture of the day. As mayor of the most scarce city, in the county of the land of Oz, I welcome you forcefully to me, but we got to verify it's me to me. To see, it's she, it's me, it's morally, ethically, beautifully, positively, absolutely, positively, kindly, and great kindly, as over, I pass over, I thoroughly examined her, and she not only she really holds in seriousness. Then this is a day of independence for all the monkeys and their descendants. If they, yes, that the joyous news be spread, the wicked old witch at last is dead. Bring down the wicked men, we shall get to the end. Bring down the wicked We thank you very greatly.
Yeah, forgetting about the loop. We're still working, I've got to figure that out. So this is an interesting clip, right? Let's celebrate that someone is dead. I mean, you think about it, this is a children's movie. Although you may have people in your life that, when that happens, that you may be singing this song in your head. I don't know. But what I want to focus on is the freedom that the Munchkins felt. Right? I mean, what were they celebrating? Freedom from oppression. The Wicked Witch had oppressed them and done whatever. We don't, from the movie, I'm sure probably loved the book. How many people read the book? Why would I need to read the book? There's a movie. So freedom from oppression. And we are fortunate to live in the country that we live in. Because we are free, we have freedoms. I'm not sure if you knew this. We have freedom to put ketchup on whatever we want. Did you know that in France, they are only allowed to put ketchup on the table, or at least I believe this is in school cafeterias, 1 day a week. And that's when they have freedom fries, or as we call them, French fries. But other than that, they cannot have, in cafeterias, cannot have ketchup out because, you know, how the French are in their food. That's how they are. Oh yes, mullets. Business in the front, party in the back, right? You know what I'm talking about? That's a mullet. Back in the, although some people still wear a mullet, there was a student at camp that had a mullet. But in Iran, they actually have a list of acceptable haircuts. So you can't have a mullet, you can't have a ponytail. There's different things, some other haircuts that you can't have as well. In Singapore, a place that is so concerned with cleanliness that you can't get gum there. Gum is banned in Singapore, but also it's forbidden to not flush the toilet in a public restroom. So, and they actually check for this. Of course, nowadays, automatic flushing toilets, I don't know if that's a big deal. Of course, at what point do you have to pass a law to flush it? I don't know if that makes it illegal not to flush the toilet. I don't know, it must have been pretty gross. So, and then speaking of restrooms, we are free to use the restroom in the ocean. Not that we ever would do that, but in Portugal, it is illegal to relieve yourself in the ocean. I'm not sure how you check for that. But anyway, so that is another freedom that we enjoy. We don't have to make use of that, as always. One of the jokes I made at camp, well, you know, let's all go to the pool. Notice there's no pee in it. Let's keep it that way. All right. And then names. Names for our children. We can name our children. You know, let the celebrities go nuts with Apple and Blue Ivy and all of the different things. There was a student at camp when I was in Texas. His last name was McCullum. So they named him whatchamacallit. It's on the birth certificate. Whatchamacallit. Hey, whatcha? Anyway, so you could always remember his name. Oh, you know that kid. Whatchamacallit. But in Denmark, they have a list of 7,000 names that are approved. If you want to go outside of that list of names, you have to get approval from the government. So again, see how great it is to live in America? All these fun things that we get to do that people in other countries don't. And of course, one of the most important things is freedom of religion. Right? We're free to practice our religion openly. Now, I don't know if you know this. There is a religion called Pastafarianism. I have a next slide. A driver's license picture from Arizona of this gentleman, Mr. Corbett, who is part of the Pastafarianism of religions. And so he actually petitioned to be able to wear the colander on his head in his photo. And because we have freedom of religion, now of course we know it's made up, but just know that this is a national religion. Go to the next slide. We have a Pastafarian in Oklahoma as well, apparently. So I can't really see that picture very well, but nevertheless, it is a Oklahoma driver's license with a Pastafarian in the head. So But as Senator Langford, our own senator, said, if we believe in freedom of religion, that is all faiths, we stand the person next to us to have a different faith than ours, for the right to practice their faith because we have a right to practice ours. So it's a good quote. And there's lots of ways that we talk about freedom, right? Freedom in our country. But what I want to focus on is a saying that I think we've all probably heard at some point. And that phrase is freedom in Christ. What does it mean to have freedom in Christ? And first of all, where does that come from? Is that actually in the Bible? Well, if we look up Bible and you Google search, quote unquote, freedom in Christ, it actually never says freedom in Christ in the Bible. What we have is, those little headings at the top of our Bible, and it'll give you like a little outline, or 3 or 4 word sentence outline of what the next section is. Well, that's what we get. And so it says freedom in Christ above Galatians chapter 5. And so let's look at that. Galatians chapter 5. And I'm skipping 2 and 3. You can read it. It's not like it's controversial or anything. It just doesn't really pertain to what we're talking about today. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm. And do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. You who are trying to be justified by the law have been alienated from Christ. You have fallen away from grace. So in the early church, there's this, just almost to me, a very consistent, ongoing debate about that just kind of keeps popping up throughout the early church history. I don't know if you knew this, but Jesus was a Jew, practicing Jew. Everybody? Okay, all right, we're good. So we're following there. But as Gentiles were coming in to the faith to follow Christ, there was debate. Do we circumcise them or do we not? Today's age, we just think this is the craziest thing ever. So circumcision or no circumcision. And the Jews wanted all of the new believers to be circumcised. Well, in the Jewish faith, circumcision was important because that was the sign of the covenant that they had with God. And so we would call that the sign of the old covenant, because now we have a new covenant with Christ. And so they felt like in order to be a follower of Jesus, that you needed to first do step 1, and then you could have this. Then you could follow Jesus. But Paul disagreed. And so Paul tells the Galatians that those who appeal to freedom so that they can have their own way or indulge their own desires are falling back into sin. And those people who are following legalism or just doing their own thing, whatever, because hey, I got Jesus, I can do whatever I want. He's saying, no, you're going back under slavery, you're going back into sin. And he says it's wrong to put this burden of law keeping, because that's really what the Jews focused on, was following the rules, making sure you did the 666 mitzvot, the rules, the regulations of the Jewish faith. They say, no, you're still on the yoke of slavery. Jesus came to set us free. Free from sin, free from legalism. But that has nothing to do with today, right? People don't put unnecessary burdens or rules or regulations on people in their faith, do they? We don't know anybody that does that. Okay, so maybe we do. I don't know if you're following that. I was being facetious. Okay. So, and it does. This applies to us today. We speak out. We have to speak out against those who try to enslave followers with all of these rules and regulations. Special conditions for being saved or growing in Christ. And I think verse 1 is the key of all of Galatians. Because of the nature of the gospel and the work of Christ on our behalf, we are now free to turn away from anything that reeks of legalism and instead rest in Christ's triumphant work for us and live in the power of Christ's Spirit. See, the appeal for Paul is that standing firm in their freedom is the only proper response to an attempt to bring Christians once more under this legalism. And again, you know what I'm talking about. You've heard people say it. In order to be saved, you have to do this. You have to, it's like they're the gatekeepers or the bouncers or something of Christianity for Jesus. And Jesus was really clear. Whenever the disciples, to me, I always picture, those people like the disciples keeping the children back. And, like, no, you can't go see Jesus. And Jesus is like, what are you doing? Let people come to me. wherever they're at. Right? In order to have a relationship with Christ, you need to clean up your act or stop doing this and start doing that. And then you can receive the grace, the love, and the forgiveness. No! That's not how it works. You don't have to do anything. If I had to do something to receive God's love, then is it grace? Is it a free gift? If I'm doing something? Then who am I relying on for the love of God if I'm doing something to receive it? I'm relying on me and my actions. And my actions, I'm not going to cut it. I need God's love. I need God's grace. And as people, we have a hard time with this, and that's why we want to put up these steps that you have to do in order to get to here. Right? We have a hard time with stuff that's free, because if it's free, it's too good to be true, right? I mean, think about it. When you put something out of your curb for somebody to take, when is it going to get gone quicker? If you have a free sign on it, or if you put $20 on it? The $20, right? Because if you put a sign out there that says free, well, then it obviously has no value. But if you put a value on it, all of a sudden, somebody's throwing it in the back of their pickup and hauling it off for you. Even though you were going to put a free sign on it to begin with. Because you don't care. That's why you put it out on the curb in the first place. Right? And so we think that since God is giving us this grace for free, then it doesn't have the value that it, unless we earn it. And we do stuff, and we do these things, and then all of a sudden, it's like, yes, I've earned this, I deserve it because it's such a great gift. No. That's what makes God so great. Because it's down here, it's free. The most valuable gift to us of our entire lives, our eternity, is free. How great is that? See, here's the thing, our deeds of service must never be used to try to earn God's love or favor. If you want to know what Paul thinks of people who try to make you do something to earn God's grace, read down to verse 12. Get a little chuckle. It's great. I don't think I can really say that in church, so I'm not going to. But you can read it in the Bible. Verse 12. Check it out. You can check it out now and get a little chuckle for yourself. All right. Verse 5. For through the Spirit we eagerly await by faith the righteousness for which we hope. For in Christ Jesus neither circumcision nor uncircumcision has any value. The only thing that counts is faith expressing itself through love. Notice that here Paul lists the basic Christian virtues: faith, hope, and love. And I never picked up on this. I mean, all through this. Right. I certainly like Paul a little more every day. I didn't used to like Paul. The more that I get into and stuff, it's really good. And so read the rest of the New Testament too, not just the Gospels. So he mentions faith, hope, and love, which of course is from, we know from 1 Corinthians 13, grace, faith, hope, and love, grace, and peace, love. Okay. So Christ has come to set us free, not free to do whatever we want, right? Because that would just lead us back into slavery, into oppression. That our selfish desires are really oppressive to our freedom in Christ. Now, 1 Corinthians 10 tells us, I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. No one should seek their own good, but the good of others. So again, we kind of get this thing. Because even in our own country, while we are free to do lots of things, like ketchup, hairstyles, going to the restroom in various places, and not flushing the toilet, whatever it might be, chewing gum. There are also things that we can't do that are fun. It's illegal for a driver to be blindfolded while operating a vehicle. I'm not sure if you knew that, so don't try it. That's not a premise at home. This is a good one. Boogers may not be flicked into the wind, so stop doing that. Not sure if you do that. And this is a good one for us churchgoers. It is illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church. So no fake mustaches. If you do, make it a decent one that we won't have that. All right. And then in Oklahoma, just in case you were ever thinking about this, I just want you to know, it's state specific. It is illegal to wrestle a bear. So no bear wrestling. Sorry, can't do that. So there's things that Paul's talking about that we may think are good or whatever, but they're not constructive, they're not helpful to our relationship with God. So now, thanks to Christ, according to verse 6, we are now free and able to do what it was impossible when we were over here before. When we were stuck in legalism, when we were stuck in our own selfish, sinful desires, now we are free to do what? To live unselfishly. To do the love that God has called us to. Literally what Paul is saying in verse 6 is faith energized by love. Faith energized by love. This, and not religious law keeping, is the essence of the Christian life. Because faith expresses itself through love. You can check your love for others as a way to monitor your own faith, right? It's like your spiritual dipstick. How much do I love other people? The more that our love for God and others increases, the stronger that our faith becomes. It's been said that, and I'll end with this, it's been said that true freedom in Christ is when we have nothing to hide, nothing to lose, and nothing to prove. Nothing to hide, nothing to lose, and nothing to prove. That is true freedom in Christ. We have nothing to hide because Jesus has already covered our sin. We have nothing to lose because we are already committed to denying ourselves and picking up our cross in our pursuit of Christ. And we have nothing to prove because Christ has already taken care of it. All of our sin and selfish ambitions, our vain desires, and our self-glorifying dreams. See, I think this is what Paul is saying when he speaks of freedom in Christ. So that we can be free to express our faith through love. I love my freedom in Christ. This time in our service, if you have not experienced this freedom in Christ by accepting Him as your Lord and Savior, acknowledging that you need Him not just for some time, someplace else, but for right now, every day. We also know that not everyone has a church home, a place to belong, a place to share their gifts and their talents. As we seek to grow the kingdom of God. We invite you to come forward now as we stand and sing our hymns and invitations.
God of our fathers is our hymn of invitation. It's number 573 there. We'll be speaking verses 1 and 2.
Romans 6:23 says, "For the wages of sin is death, but the free gift of God is eternal life in Christ Jesus our Lord." When we confess our faith in Christ and were baptized, we died with Christ and were raised to a new life with Him. This table reminds us of the gift of God that we celebrate in baptism. Come and receive the gifts of God as a reminder of God's ultimate gift. Would you join me in the statement? I believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God,
My emotions.
Item 9 on board is our communion hymn, which are 358, we'll see verses 1 and 2.
On the night in which he was betrayed, Jesus took the bread and after giving thanks, he broke it. He passed it among them and he said, "Take it, eat. This is my body, broken for you." And in like manner, he took the cup and after blessing it, he passed it among them. He said, "Take and drink. For this is the blood of the new covenant, which is shed for the forgiveness of sins. Do this in remembrance of me." Let's pray.
Father, we thank you today for this time to commune with you, to share the bread and the cup as a beautiful reminder of your sacrifice for us, so that we might have freedom from sin. Praise to Jesus Christ, who is set us free. In Jesus' name. Amen.
In Matthew chapter 10, Jesus says, "Whoever gives even a cup of cold water to one of these little ones in the name of a disciple, truly I tell you, none of these will lose their reward." When we bring together our tithes and offerings, one of the many things that we do together as Christian church disciples of Christ is provide water. It is one of the most frequently funded projects by Week of Compassion and by congregations all over North America. We do it because we know that clean, safe water brings life. And with life comes the chance to claim abundant and everlasting life. As we bring our gifts before God, let us do so generously, knowing that through our gifts we are offering a covenant of power in the name of our Lord. For tithes and offerings we now be given and receive.
giver of life and source of freedom. You sent us your Son to teach us how to live with one another, and Jesus made it so clear for us when he told parables of compassion and mercy. As we give our gifts this morning, we remember that our lives are a journey, and those are wounded and healing people all along the road. Some are where we can see, and some are where we cannot. May the gifts we offer be used to bind up the wounds, to ease the pain, and to give hope to the hopeless. In Jesus' name, amen.
So thankful that you worship with us on this wonderful July 2nd, July 4th weekend. Whether you have a safe 4th, remember, don't lie anything in your hands. Sit on the ground and then step away. Now receive the closing blessing. Now may the God of love, of grace, peace, and of mercy go with each one of you, making his face to shine upon you, helping all of us to have freedom in Christ and to throw off the bondages of sin.
Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes.